monsoon predictions for the 2021 Atlantic hurricane season. Let's get into these predictions for what is likely to be a quite above average season. First, let's take a look at this season's sea surface temperatures. I'd say that this area is already conducive for hurricane development or just normal tropical storm development as well, at least for sea surface temperatures. For the overall season, I believe that these areas will be slightly above average in their sea surface temperatures. This is the MDR and the Gulf of Mexico, along with the majority of the East Coast and some of the Caribbean. These areas, I believe, will have slightly above average sea surface temperatures, which will help storms develop quicker and more often in these areas. Just the above average areas, which will be even higher sea surface temperatures, are in these red areas, and they are also in the MDR and the Gulf of Mexico, with a small portion right off the East Coast. I believe that this area will be slightly below average just due to the current trends and how it has been recently, as well as this area just being normally below average, which will be a little bit even more below average just in that small portion. Although with it being the Caribbean, this area will still likely be quite conducive for storms despite it being below average in temperature. I believe these areas will be average. You could say that the rest of the Gulf Atlantic will be average, but I just put this area because these are the areas that most storms will be forming. So that green area, I believe, will be average or very near average temperatures. Now let's look at the ENSO region. This is the current thing. This is the current ENSO. It is at roughly plus 0.2, 0.3 last time I checked. And I believe that it will stay there roughly, maybe even get up to 0.4, 0.5, before I believe it will drop down either back to a La Nina, a neutral, or slightly in the El Nino region, at least in the next 6 months. I believe there is a 10 to 20% chance of an El Nino, with a 50% chance of a neutral phase and a 40% chance of a La Nina going into the remainder of this season. Let's talk about the West African monsoon. This is an event that is likely to occur, and I believe is already occurring off the coast of Africa, or just on the coast of Africa. The West African monsoon basically just spits waves off the coast of Africa more than often. So I believe that's why we could have a very active MDR African region this year with increased waves. Of course, there's a higher likelihood that we'll have more storms developing. Let's look at my overall forecast. I believe that this area will be above average in storms this year, while this area will be slightly below average. Now, I'm not saying that there will not be a lot of storms. I'm talking about below average for this particular region, which is still quite a lot, considering how much we typically see developing in the Caribbean, especially around this time of year and as we get into hurricane season or deeper into hurricane season. I believe in this yellow area that we will have more waves and storms than we typically do, especially since we have the West African monsoon, and we will be seeing the potential for a neutral or a La Nina, which is the most likely outcome at the moment for the Atlantic, which will decrease wind shear, and with an above average sea surface temperatures and the West African monsoon, I think that just in general more waves and storms, and maybe even more intense storms coming through this area. Then you just kind of see this out to sea region with Bermuda and some of the East Coast, and just above these other areas. It's kind of a wild card. You never really know with these areas, as they're more of the subtropics, where you just don't really know with these areas too often. So I'm still considering this a wild card area. Let's look at the final predictions for this season. I am going with 18 tropical storms. I believe this will be a similar season to maybe 2019, kind of similar to that season. I believe there will be 9 hurricanes, which is Cat 1 or Category 2, which is above the 2019. I'm thinking the tropical storms will be more like 2019. We'll see hurricanes being a lot like 2017, just not quite to the level of 2017. And then the major hurricanes, I believe there will be 5, but there is a good possibility there will be 4 or even more than that. But I think 4 or 5 will be roughly how many major hurricanes we are going to get this year. Thank you guys for watching my 2021 June predictions for the Atlantic hurricane season. Thank you guys for watching. If you want more updates on the season as the storms and the season progresses, please like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. Thank you guys for watching, and signing off.